Whew, I don't think I have ever encountered so many problems when trying to get a painting done, nor been so grateful to actually have it finished as this one. Welcome friends, it's Caleigh Bird, and today I have got an amazing painting that I am so proud of, my Siren of the Palms, but this painting, I gotta tell you, almost didn't happen. It was really a series of very fortunate events that finally made things come to fruition. I am so excited to share this journey with you because this one was a big one. By the way, you can check out the links in my description box below for my oil painting basics playlist to tell you all about how I transfer my drawings for painting, how I mix skin tones, what brushes I like to use, and even how I pour resin and everything. Check out the description down below if you'd like to learn about anything I'm doing in this video. So I'm sure I don't have to remind anyone of the weirdness of the last year and a half, 2020 and 2021 has brought. So no need to go into all that. But as you guys know, because it's been so difficult to connect with people and, being in lockdown and all that kind of stuff, I've had a really difficult time finding models or, meeting new friends since moving back from Hawaii. And then especially since moving to Nashville at the beginning of 2021 to start teaching at Nosy College of Art. It's been difficult for me to make new friends, being in this sort of semi-lockdown state. We don't know what's going on. Things are kind of crazy. It's a new place. I'm very busy with work. I just haven't really met anyone. So procuring models to use for my artworks has actually been a bit of a challenge over this past year and a half or so. So I was sort of at a loss as far as to what I was even going to be painting next. Luckily, I had remembered that a wonderful photographer at Greater Creator Vision had sent me a few incredible images of his wife, Brandy Faith, that he had taken, and they had volunteered to let me do a collaboration with them and use some of their reference photos for an upcoming painting, which I was so grateful for. Like I said, I can't really find my own models these days. I'm using more photos from other people, which normally I like to take my own photos, but occasionally I'll find the right person with the right artistic eye, with the right high quality imagery, and I'll be able to do a collaboration. So big shout out to Great Creator Vision for literally making this painting possible. And of course to his beautiful wife, Brandy Faith. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed studying your figure and all these amazing stripes over the last few weeks. So thankfully, once I figured out what I wanted to paint, I had to then figure out how I was going to create it, because since I moved to Tennessee, I no longer have access to my old miter saw or the woodworking studio where I used to be able to build all my framing. So I had to figure out exactly how I was going to do this without having a woodworking station. And remember, I have to actually create shadow box frames so I can do the resin pour. So it's not like I can go to just some art store and get any old stretched canvas. I have to find some sort of frameable material or pre-framed wood panels, something like that, in order to make it work. So I had to figure that out. Plus, I'm doing a larger scale painting than I have done in a while. So I really had to make sure that I was going to be able to find something very sturdy, because this resin puts a lot of weight on the frame. So you can't be using flimsy materials when creating these super heavy, intense resin pieces. I'm not gonna lie to you, I definitely love this painting, but the creation of it was sort of a mixture of tedium and meditation. So painting a large figure takes time, but creating all these shadow stripes and having to do things like highlights and lowlights and highlights. As you can see, I'm putting in some cool blues right on the top of the breast there, you know, all that kind of thing. Very interesting. I learned a lot. I love the effect of all these stripes, but my goodness, every little square inch took about 5 times longer than it would have had I just been painting a figure in regular light. So like I said, occasionally it felt a little tedious because it was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing the same thing over and over again. But the nice thing that happens when you're doing the same thing over and over again is that you can kind of get melty into your flow, right? You can kind of sort of have this meditative feeling kind of going on, and you're just sort of playing with the brush strokes back and forth, dabbling in colors, you know. So it was definitely, you know, quite a challenge as far as getting everything really straight and having to pull up musculature and forms in these stripes, as you can see with like the vein on her arm and the little bit of ab definition she had. You know, I'm having to create all of these interesting areas, but then splicing them intermittently. So I definitely, I learned quite a bit about shading, as I always do with these paintings, but you know, there was a bit of a tedium going on. So I certainly had to enjoy exercising patience. Probably can't tell, but there's actually like a very light spray painted sort of halo thing going on around her head. Yeah, I know you can't tell, which is why I had to redo it. So I actually went to the store specifically to buy yellow spray paint just to make her halo, and it didn't show up. Very frustrating. But since that didn't work out, I decided to actually go in and do this gold leaf instead. So you can see me kind of putting in glue, putting the gold leaf on, and then brushing it away. And actually this wound up looking way better than the little spray paint halo that I was going to do initially. So, you know, sometimes you don't get what you want, but it's for the best. Okay, now of all the challenges this piece had posed to me, I would have to say painting this hair was number one. I mean, I don't really have a ton of confidence painting hair anyways, but painting hair to be shadow striped, oh my gosh, I had to like reinvent like the way my brain works in order to be able to do this. In fact, I was so not confident about how it would turn out that you can see the left side I did completely without filming. I was like, I'm gonna have to practice this on one side before I can do the right side that anybody can actually watch. So I am extremely thrilled with how the hair turned out because it was super challenging. Oh my gosh, but look at those stripes. I'm in love. As I said in the beginning, I was not able to frame this in the way that I normally do my resin pieces, but actually I wound up really liking this because the frame on this one wound up becoming a lot thicker than the ones that I normally do. So once again, serendipity. Luckily, I still had lots of critters left over from living in Florida. Check out this amazing lizard skeleton I'm using. Do you like how I'm putting the little highlights in so that you can see the light beams reflecting off of the lizard too? Attention to detail. That's where we find our happy place. I actually wound up having a pretty hard time procuring the palms for this too. I was looking everywhere, but I'm so used to being in Florida and Hawaii that, of course, Tennessee doesn't have palms like you need, and I especially needed something that was very small that wouldn't overpower the piece. So luckily, my boyfriend is always at plant nurseries, and he was finally able to find one that was the perfect size. So I pressed a bunch of leaves myself, making sure to give them little folds so that it would kind of give a nice 3D effect when I put them in the resin. You'll see what I mean in a second. Thank goodness I found these palms though. Also serendipitously, I was out of my resin and my boyfriend introduced me to the kind that he likes, and oh my gosh, I am converted. This resin is so much easier to mix and there's like almost no bubbles. The cleanup is so much easier. It's way less odor and like toxic. So if you guys would like me to do a new tutorial on my resin pouring procedures, let me know. I know it's been a while since I've put out a nice detailed resin video. I wound up doing 3 layers on this painting with my real palm leaves in between, and I think it turned out so well. Do you see how they're just nicely folded and slightly elevated above the figure? Oh my gosh, I am so in love. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I really spent oodles and poodles and doodles of time creating this painting, like every single bit of it. So please let me know what you think down below. And if you would like an updated resin tutorial on this new brand that I am so in love with. If you're feeling inspired and want to learn all about my oil painting techniques, make sure to check out this playlist. I've got everything you need to know, from picking out brushes and paints to setup and cleanup to how to set up your studio to how to blend, everything you need. Thanks for being here today, guys. I'll see you next time.